In the United States, law enforcement agencies work together to investigate and combat trafficking. Because of DSS's global presence and our expertise investigating worldwide crimes related to visa and passport fraud, we are often a key part of the investigative team. Here is one example of how DSS works a trafficking case. After receiving a call from a concerned citizen, the San Francisco Police Department conducts a welfare check on a house located in a wealthy part of the city. During the visit, police officers see two young boys in the house during school hours. They look thin and unkempt. One of the owners of the house said that the children were her nephews and were homesick from school. The officers are suspicious about what they observed. They talked to the local anti-trafficking coordination team, ACT team, about what they saw. A DSS special agent assigned to the ACT team picks up the case. The special agent brings in colleagues from the DSS San Francisco field office to investigate. They determine that the wealthy couple occupying the house have one teenage daughter. The wife is the vice president of a successful IT firm. The agents could not identify whether the husband, who was born in Indonesia, has a job. The agents surveil the house and notice that the wealthy couple and their assumed teenage daughter lead a busy life of work, school, sports, and other activities. However, the only glimpse of the two boys is when they take out the trash and mow the yard. Further research reveals that the couple obtained visas for two nephews who traveled from Indonesia to San Francisco 3 years ago. DSS discreetly interviews neighbors who say they rarely see the boys outside. They do not seem to attend school. They always wear the same clothing and never go to activities with the rest of the family. One neighbor said that she invited the boys over to play with her son. They did not understand English. When the husband saw the interaction, he ordered the boys inside the house. Since then, the boys run into the house when they see her. DSS suspects the couple lied on the visa application for the boys and the children are not related to them. The agents suspect that they are indentured and forced to work for the family with no pay and could possibly be abused. The DSS special agents reach out to the special agents working at the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. They work with Indonesian law enforcement partners to gather more information about the two boys in San Francisco. Using facial recognition software along with travel records, the DSS special agents believe they found out the names of the two children. DSS discovers that the two children had applied for travel visas before, but listed different mothers and fathers on their applications. They and their respective parents were denied visas. However, each of their applications listed their U.S. point of contact as living in San Francisco. DSS works with Jakarta officials to locate potential relatives. They find out that the boys are about 12 and 10 years old, respectively, and had been forced to work for Indonesians that were known by the locals to be involved in a number of crimes. The boys disappeared a few years previously, and the families had not heard from them since. DSS conducts analysis on the visa applications and travel records of the boys' suspected families. The agents find that one distant relative and cousin had a current visa. The individual is brought into the U.S. Embassy. During his interview, DSS determines that the cousin sold his family members to pay off a debt. The embassy immediately cancels his visa. DSS agents work with Indonesian authorities to have him arrested outside the embassy gates. DSS works with the Indonesian police to find out more about the supposed cousin. The Indonesians identify him as a member of an organized crime ring. He arranges for many boys to be attached to new families for the purpose of indentured servitude. His role is to coach the boys on what to say at the embassy, to take the families there for interviews, and handle all the money. Based on this information, U.S. prosecutors seek to extradite and prosecute him. Using facial recognition software, travel documents, social media analytics, and job-related records, DSS identifies other potential victims. DSS works with the Indonesian government to allow the U.S.-based investigative team to travel to Indonesia to work with prosecutors. Indonesian officers and DSS agents speak to multiple individuals who provide more insight into the criminal ring's activities, which include paying for services with a human versus monetary exchange. The embassy revokes visas for all members of the criminal ring and those associated with it. Due to this, one associate who desperately needs to have access to the United States decides to cooperate with U.S. authorities and will testify to the ring's inner workings and membership. This individual becomes a key witness at trial. With this information, the DSS special agents travel back to San Francisco and work with the local prosecutors to get a search warrant for the couple's house. Meanwhile, the agents who are still assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta continue gathering evidence and speaking to potential victims and witnesses so that the criminal ring can be prosecuted in Indonesia. DSS hauls in the wealthy couple, the teenage daughter, and the 2 boys for questioning. Eventually, the truth comes out. The boys were taken by men in Indonesia and given to the couple as payment for their services. The husband was the contact for the criminal ring and managed their seedy operation in the United States. The husband coerced the wife and used her position at the IT company to procure work visas for individuals who were then forced into sex trafficking, indentured servitude, and other illegal activities. The U.S. Attorney's Office prosecutes the couple on human trafficking and false statements given at the U.S. Embassy. Based on DSS's ongoing investigation, the Attorney's Office indicts additional organizational members in Indonesia and requests extradition to the United States. Working with Indonesian law enforcement intelligence, DSS agents nominate the organization to be recognized as a transnational organized crime organization, banning all members and associates from a U.S. visa of any kind for life. The criminals are sentenced to 3 years in prison. The State Department puts a visa ban for life on all involved in the trafficking operation. The cousin is sentenced to 10 years for child trafficking. DSS works with non-governmental organizations in San Francisco to assist the trafficked boys with learning English, getting an education, and other services. The team works with its State Department and Homeland Security colleagues on the next steps for the boys and other victims of the trafficking ring